Knew that this trade here on Microsoft was going to happen, but I wasn't alone. Something really strange happened near the end of the day on this trade, and I can't wait to explain it to you guys. So I took this trade. It was a 10 to 1 RR, and I called out this trade yesterday publicly on my YouTube channel, saying that I think we had reached the bottom and that I'd be looking for setups on it today, and that is exactly what we got. So first, I'm going to update you guys on my $100,000 account challenge, and then I'm going to break down this trade, why I took it, and the new indicator that I have found that feels like cheating. This indicator that you're seeing at the bottom of the screen is the whole reason why I was looking at Microsoft, and it looks very promising. So first, let's talk about the $100,000 account challenge. I started this challenge with $3,250, and I'm aiming to turn it into $100,000. If we look here on the S&P 500, we can see the two trades that I took. I came into today with $2,950 in my account from my last video. Then I took these two long positions on the S&P 500, and I've been saying for a while now that I am leaning long into the weakness where we are currently at in the market. And I'm leaning long for a couple of reasons, but one of them is the seasonality of the market. We can see here that June is usually pretty flat in terms of monthly returns, and then July we usually get a bit of an increase. And so as the market gets excited about earnings coming at the end of July, I think we're going to slowly start to rally into that. And so that is one of the reasons I'm leaning long. I think we're overextended to the downside as well, which I've explained in my last video. And so I was leaning long. We swept below pre-market lows and previous day lows here, and I went ahead and entered these two trades. I entered them somewhat lightly, and I made about $150 each on these. I think I entered with like two contracts on each, and yeah, secured $150 on each of them, so $300 total on this trade. While that trade was going on, I was sitting in the Microsoft trade, and I liked this trade, and I called it out yesterday because of this right here, this bottom candle. So this indicator shows the relative volume by time. So at the beginning of the day when the market opens, the volume is always high. It's always high at 6:30. It's always high right before the market closes. But how much volume is it relative to the previous 20 days? That is what this indicator is telling us. Is the volume relatively high for that time? And that's exactly what we see right here at 10:30. The average volume at 10:30 here today was 3 times as high as usual. And then following that, we get a pretty big move upwards. And on the smaller time frames, you could have caught like a 5 to 1 RR if you had seen this. I saw it after market close, and I was then looking into Microsoft for that reason, and also because on the weekly time frame, we can see here that the $350 level is likely going to be a strong level of support. And so I thought that it was time to start leaning long with those two things in mind. Then coming into the day today, as the market opened, I noticed that we had a bit of a high volume node on this volume profile right here, which can sometimes, if this node is like a lot larger than the other ones, then it can signal Wall Street positioning in pre-market. And so I noticed that this had a large node on it right here. And then right before the market opened at 6:25, the market comes all the way down to here. sweeps pre-market lows, and then closes back above the point of control. And I really liked that. It was sort of confirmation between the weekly and 30-minute time frame, and then seeing this as well on the lower time frames, it really confirmed this trade for me. So as soon as the market opened, I entered 14 contracts of Microsoft at a $390 strike price. And I didn't quite realize it when I bought those, but a 390 strike is right here. So it was really, really far. We were opening the market down here around this support level, and for us to get to 390, it could be like a 10% move in a day. And after I bought those, I realized that that was way too much. Like, we're probably not going to get there. And so I bought those 14 contracts at $5 each. And then pretty quickly, maybe in this area here, I then also bought 3 contracts of the $380 strike price. And I paid about $30 each for those. Then, as the market came up, I sold those 380 strike calls in this area here. I honestly should have held them longer, but in my mind, I was like, look, I've got 14 runners at 390. Like, I can just sell these whenever I want to. Like, I'm not going to hesitate to sell these. And so I just went ahead and secured profit right here on those 3. And I probably made like 150 on that, which I was really happy with because I was only in those 14 other contracts. I paid about $100 total. And so I secured 150 on these other contracts. So I was not going to be red on this trade, even if those other contracts went to 0. And so that's exactly what my day trading strategy says for me to do. Then as the market kept going, it seemed like we were running out of momentum here, and I was about to let those 390s go to 0. I bought them for $5. The highest that they went during the day was right here. They were at $15. I managed to sell some at 11. I sold 5 of them at $11, so I was only holding 9 of the 14 into the close. And then as the market came near the close, the contracts were nearly at 0. They were worth $1 each, which honestly makes a lot of sense. Like 390 is all the way, let's see, it's all the way up here, 390 right here. And so the market would have to go like 4% in the final like 30 minutes, and that's just not going to happen. So those contracts were at 0, which are almost 0, which made a lot of sense. But then at 12:30 right here, all of a sudden the contracts are worth more than they've been worth all day. They were suddenly worth like $20 each. And I was like, wait, this makes no sense. Like, Microsoft is not getting to 390 in the final 15 minutes. That's not happening. Why did the price spike up all of a sudden? And I actually took a screenshot of it to show you guys. It's right here. So we can see the time, 15:30 military time, 12:30 on the charts. The market closes in 30 minutes from here, and you can see my final 5 positions at $5 each, and all of a sudden the price like spikes up, and suddenly they're worth like $20 each up here, and it just made no sense. And I thought about it, and I was like, somebody knows something. Somebody knows that something is going to happen, and they are loading up on these call options. I just happen to be holding them already. And so with that in mind, I was like, well, now I have to hold these. I have to. And so that's what I did. I held them, and we got a pretty violent move upwards all of a sudden at 12:50. Someone let me know in the comments like why this happened. But yeah, at 12:50 we get this spike, and these contracts go up to being worth 1,000%, as you can see here. I was only holding 3 positions at the time of the screenshot, and those final 3 were at 1000%. And yeah, so all of a sudden that spike up, whoever was buying calls, they knew this was going to happen, and it did. And as soon as it happened, I started selling. I sold a few at the highest it went right here was like $80 each. I sold some at 50 and 60, and then like 40, and then like 20 as the market like came back down right here. So I sold nearly the exact top on this trade. It was very strange because I've never seen contracts do that sort of thing. And so on this trade, I made on Microsoft in total, I made about $490. So $490 on Microsoft, and then about $300 on the 2 S&P 500 trades, which comes out to a final account balance in the $100,000 account challenge. It comes out to $3,600, but I'm holding $100 worth of runners that I'm gonna swing until Monday on Microsoft. So my account balance, let me look really quick. It should be, I've got $3,569 cash in the account, and my Microsoft runners that I'm holding are up $60 right now, and I'm holding, I guess I paid $64 for those. It's currently worth $125. So I'm holding a little bit of value in those contracts. And that's where we leave off for the $100,000 account challenge. It's a great way to start the weekend. And if you want to see me continue to grow this account up to 100,000, then click like and click subscribe. And I'm going to see you in the next video.